Hey Katrina, it's nice to see you back this week. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fine. Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Okay. So last week, just to kind of recap a little bit and kind of bridge it together, we talked about a lot of stuff last week. We went through an event that was really scary for you and caused a lot of anxiety, and you showed me kind of how you work through that, what you were thinking when you had, I think the event last week was you got an email from FSU that really scared you.
Yeah.
And you just kind of talked to me about the way you handled it, what you were thinking, and how you behaved whenever you got that email. So I just kind of want to start off this week just wondering, did anything new happen? I sent you home with a sheet that was saying if you could track anything that gave you a lot of anxiety, just kind of to jot it down and go through those same steps we did last week. Did anything pop up this week?
I guess like a couple things that came to mind. Kind of similar to the email, but like I got a text that there was just an attempted robbery like really early in the morning, and that really stressed me out, and it like woke me up, and I don't know, it was like a really like weird way to start my day, I guess. So like that really scared me. And I guess like the other main thing that happened was like I don't know, I live in like a kind of a small private neighborhood, and I like know all of my neighbors and everything, but like a few days ago there's like a new car parked outside, and like I like make a point to like at least recognize my neighbors' faces and stuff, and I still haven't really been able to like find out whose car that is, and that's been really stressing me out.
Right. And so what are you thinking when you see this new car out there? What's popping up in your head? Remember we talked about automatic thoughts?
Yeah, I guess like the first thought was like who is that? Like what do they want? What do they want from me? Like am I like I don't like are they here for me? Like I've never seen that car before, sort of thing. That's definitely like the first thought. And then I also thought maybe it's someone visiting one of my neighbors, but it's been there for a few days and I can't like wrap my head around it.
Right. And so I hear you're really concerned about what's going on out there, and that you really want to know who this is and why they're in your neighborhood. And it seems like you're worried about your safety, if they're going to be a person that's safe enough to be in your neighborhood.
Definitely.
And that's a pretty normal concern. You know, it's a real small neighborhood, and everybody knows everybody's, from what I hear you saying. So it's a normal concern when a new person comes in and you're not sure who they are or their intentions. But I heard you saying a lot of what you thought about them. What if we turned some of those automatic thoughts and replaced them with I statements, like what would you be thinking? So for an example, you mentioned, what are they doing here? Let's try to turn that into an I statement, like how I feel, what I am thinking during that time.
I guess just I guess maybe like I don't know them. I don't know what they're doing here. I'm scared. I don't want them here. I don't like change. I don't like people being here who shouldn't be here. I don't know what their intentions are. I guess does that make sense?
Yeah, it seems like I hear you saying that you feel unsafe with them and that you don't want them there. And, it's causing a lot of problems with you, so I can definitely understand that. What are some of the emotions that are coming out whenever you're saying these things?
I guess just like scared. I guess like I start caring about like my cats and if they're safe. I'm just really, really worried. And then a part of it, I just kind of feel stupid because I'm like, why am I stressing out so much about like, I mean, maybe this person's harmless, you know? So it's like, I'm just like, I guess I'm kind of disappointed in myself at that point.
You know, I really like the way that you said that, because that shows a lot of insight in you, that you can say that you feel kind of silly, and you said stupid, and a little disappointed in yourself, because you're already moving to what a rational thought might be, which is, I told you at the end of last session that we might be talking about that this week. What would a rational person say if they saw a car park in their neighborhood? And you were already kind of seeing that and kind of looking toward that. So really great job that you're already able to look past that. I mean, it shows a lot of progress. just in these few sessions that we've had.
Thanks.
So what are some other thoughts that might a rational person say, or if someone who, wasn't fearful of who that person was, what would they say?
They'd probably not even notice. They probably wouldn't even have memorized the different cars in the neighborhood, or they could be maybe that's a new neighbor, or maybe it's someone from out of town visiting for a week or so. I don't think that they would think really that they were gonna hurt them, but in my mind, it's all that it just jumps to is I'm in danger, and I really believe it. So.
I understand that, because that's something that's pretty scary, especially, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you're saying you can never be too safe. And that's really a rule that you've kind of lived your life by. You've played by those rules since you've been in college. You can never be safe enough.
Yeah.
And so you're doing everything that you can, working pretty hard to keep yourself safe. But right now it seems like some of those can be replaced with rational things. Like you said, another person wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
So, let's try to make that what would an outcome be if you replaced your automatic thought of anxiety and fear to a rational one? What might happen then?
I'd probably be able to sleep better. I'd be able to do whatever I was doing before I saw that car, I guess. I could not have to bug my mom and call her for a few hours. I would just be able to I guess get on with the day and just be more comfortable in myself.
Yeah, you might be able to do what you were doing and just kind of move on and not even notice it. So that's great too. So what we did was just kind of this chart, and I'm going to send it home with you, and so you can kind of focus on it also.
Yeah.
But of course we're progressing, so I want to just add an extra step.
Okay.
I'm going to give you this chart, and it's going to be the same thing that we've always been doing.
Awesome.
If anything comes up that gives you a lot of anxiety, just jot it down. If you feel yourself escalating, and then write those thoughts that pop right in, those thoughts of anxiety and fear, any emotions that come up, and then the rational response. That's really important. Write down these things that could be just replaced, by, and maybe they're not responses that you organically feel, but if another person who wasn't afraid could be a bug in your ear, write what they would say down.
Okay.
And then maybe some outcomes of how your behaviors would change, or maybe be the same if you did or didn't do those.
Yeah.
Does that sound like something you can do?
It does, because I think I like this, the chart idea, just because when I have these, when I get really scared, I don't really think about it. Does that make sense? I don't really, I just kind of act on it. I never I guess this kind of helps me break it down.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes writing it, helps us, our brains kind of process it and work through it and just see it on paper. And like you said, now you're starting to think things are silly and stupid. But a lot of that is because we're able to actually see kind of what was going on in our thinking and how it is affecting our behavior.
Exactly.
So that's really good.
Thanks.
Another thing is when you get this thought, these automatic thoughts that say, I'm not safe, I don't want him here, why don't we do what we call a stop button?
Okay.
So just think in your brain like a big red stop button, a red stop sign, and as soon as a thought pops in your head, just scream in your mind, and you can even say it out loud if you want, just say stop.
Okay.
And then look at your sheet after you filled it out and just start trying to replace it with that.
Okay.
And so it's going to be pretty difficult, but because you might be really fearful, but just try it and see if you're able to do it.
Okay, I guess I could try it. I'll say a lot of stops, but I can try
Say as many
it.
as you need, and then see what that does to help you.
Okay.
And then now the next thing I want you to do is, you mentioned last session that you were having a lot of trouble sleeping.
Yeah.
And it's kind of affecting your school because you're not able to wake up and do those things. And since that's a pretty severe dysfunction to your life, I kind of want to talk about that a little bit more.
Sure.
So what I want to do there is a thing, it's called distraction imagery. Have you heard of that before?
I haven't. What is that?
Well, it's kind of cool. So what we would do is we're going to just take a time where you were really happy, you felt pretty calm, you just had no worries in the world. Like for me, if I was laying on a beach in the warm sun, in the sand, it wouldn't matter if I was speeding down traffic or late or anything. None of that would matter. So I'm just going to have you kind of walk me through a time in your life where you felt super happy and really calm and just didn't care about anything, no fear, no anxiety.
I can think of a time when I was younger, maybe like 10 years old, and it was like the 4th of July, and my parents and my sisters, we had a barbecue in our backyard and by our pool, and like no one was stressed. Like my dad wasn't stressed, and he wasn't making my mom mad or anything, and we were just like playing in the pool, and it was like, I don't know, it's like my favorite memory. I think it was very like relaxing, and like no one was like scared or anything. It was just like a really nice time.
If I were a fly on the wall at that barbecue, tell me what I would be what I would be seeing from you, what you were thinking in that time.
I guess I was just like laughing a lot, just enjoying like time with like my family and like people I care about. Like I was smiling a lot. I wasn't tired. I didn't have any fears or like stresses. I was just happy.
Yeah, that sounds like a really cool time. Sounds like an amazing time.
Yeah.
So when you talk about it, I can actually see you're feeling a little bit lighter, and you're feeling like you can kind of tap into that memory, and it's really changing your personality. It's changing your behavior a little bit right here with me.
Yeah.
When you came in, I thought you might be a little tense, and sharing your new event, I can see why. And when you talked about this, it kind of relaxed you a little bit, and then you use that as like a nice relaxation technique. So, what I want you to try to do, maybe at home, is right before bed, at least 3 nights out of the week, for 10 minutes, I want you to just close your eyes, and really put yourself back at that barbecue with your family, where everybody's laughing and joking, and you're by the pool on this really nice summer day, and just tap into that emotion and let yourself kind of feel that experience.
Okay.
And see if that helps. Now, when you're doing this, be mindful of your muscles, where your body's tensing, where it's starting to relax. Then when you come in next week, we'll talk about how that helped you.
Okay, I could do that.
Okay. And so, I just am so impressed by the progress that you've made and the insight that you've been able to bring in.
Thanks.
You were saying, you came in saying, I feel disappointed in the way that my thoughts aren't very rational, and you kind of jumped to that without even me having to say. So that shows a lot of insight and strength. My tiny concern, again, is that you're still kind of noticing everything. You're too insightful. You're still noticing everything, the cars on the street and all of your neighbors. And so again, I just want to focus on a way we can really keep using that great strength of your insight and seeing who you are, and kind of progressing and moving forward without having to notice everything and just kind of distract. So I think this little bit of homework right before bed is going to be helpful with that.
Okay.
So that's a lot to do this week. Do you think you can do it?
I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do it.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming in, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.